Good morning, artists. Mrs. Langless here to share another remote art project with you. And today we're going to use shapes and lines to draw a house. Just like lines, shapes are everywhere. Take a minute to look around the room where you are and see if you can find some of them. Can you find a square? How about a rectangle or a circle? I know in my room I have a circular clock on the wall. I also have a floor that's made up of square tiles, and every door around me is a rectangle. Today, we're going to use those common shapes to build a house. Now, if I take a look at this house right away, I can see that I'm going to use squares, rectangles, circles, triangles, and a bunch of other shapes and lines to make an artwork as well. Let's take a minute to review our shapes. So, today we're going to work with a circle. Now take a look at the line that makes up a circle. It's one line that moves in a curving shape until it comes all the way to the end. That's a circle. This shape is an oval, and what I like to tell my students is that it's kind of like a circle, but it's just kind of stretched out a little bit. Next, we have a square. A square has 4 sides that are equal. They're the same size. Next, we have a rectangle, which is a lot like a square, but it has 2 long sides and 2 shorter sides. Rectangles are super common everywhere around you. Next, I have a triangle. Triangles have some diagonal lines on them, lines that move on a slant or an angle. This triangle and all triangles have 3 sides. Next, I have this really cool shape. This is called a diamond, and what's really cool about this is that it's actually 2 triangles, one on top of the other. There's one triangle. There's the other pointing down. All right, let's get started. So for today, you are going to need a white piece of paper, and it doesn't necessarily have to be your art paper. It could be any white piece of paper that you have. And then you'll need some crayons, and I'm going to keep my regular crayons handy. I'm also going to keep my crayons without wrappers handy as well, just in case I want to use them later when I'm coloring. All right, let's get started. So first, I'm going to begin by making a square for my house. You can put a square in the center, to the sides, wherever you want on your paper. In fact, you can also hold your paper either the wide way or the tall way. That's up to you as the artist. I think I will put my house over here. So, to start with a square, I'm just going to make one vertical line going up and down. Then I'm going to make a line that comes over or horizontal and another horizontal. Then, to close it off, I'm going to make one more line coming down. There's my square. If your square doesn't look perfect, don't worry. That's what makes your artwork look cool, and it makes your artwork your own. So there's my square. Now, in order to make this look more like a house and less just like a square, you're going to add a triangle to the top. So I'm going to grab a different color now. I think I will make my roof gray. So now we're going to add a triangle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line, a horizontal, that's a little bit wider than my square. Then I'm going to make a diagonal line that comes all the way up and stops about halfway on that line. Now I'm going to make another diagonal that comes down. There is my triangle roof, and it's starting to look like a house now. I think this house needs a door. So I'm going to take a different color now, and I'm going to make another shape, a rectangle, a vertical line, and then a horizontal. Now this house needs a doorknob. So I'm going to make a little circle so that we have a way to get in the door. Next, we need some windows. Now, sometimes windows are squares, sometimes windows are rectangles. I think I'll make these ones rectangles. I think I've even seen windows that are circles or ovals, triangle windows. So whatever windows you want to make your artwork look great, go for it. So I'm making 2 rectangles, and now to make these look even more like windows, check this out. I'm going to make a vertical line and another, and now I'm going to make a horizontal. Now they really look like windows. Now I'm going to take it even a step further, but this is just up to you. I'm going to add some curtains on the inside that I can see just by making some curving lines that look like this. Now it looks like there are some curtains in there, and I guess I would just give them a quick color to fill them in. And there they are. There's our curtains. All right, next. I think I want to make my roof look like it has shingles. So I'm going to make horizontal lines over and over and over again. Now, if you like the way that looks, leave it that way. If you want to take it further, just make little vertical lines over and over again, just like that. But on this next line, make them right in between the last ones you made. Kind of a fun way to make the roof look more realistic. Whoops, there we go. All right, now I made a shingled roof. I think this roof needs a chimney. So I'm going to add a rectangle that comes out right about here, and I think I'll make this one look like it has rocks that are making up or stones that make up the chimney. So I'm going to make little rounded shapes, and then maybe I'll even make some smoke coming out of that chimney. There it is. Maybe I'll give it even a little color while I'm at it. So there is my smoke. All right, next. Now that I'm done with my house, although I do have to come back and color it later, I'm going to work on the background. So think about the things that would be around your house. I think first, I'll start with how we get into our house. So I'm going to make another step here. I'm going to use the gray that I just had for my smoke, and I'm going to make a rectangle right outside as my first step. Next, I'll add a bigger rectangle, and there are my steps to get into the house. Now I'm going to add some grass, and I know grass kind of looks like this, where it has almost a rough edge at the top. Kind of goes up and down if you think about those blades of grass. So I'm just going to color in that way and make a line. It's almost like a little bit of a zigzag over and over again. And this will make my grass look really realistic. Later, I'll come back and color it in. All right, next, I'm going to make some trees. So I'm going to start with a color, I think I'll do brown, and I'm going to make a rectangle that comes up right by my house. Now, I want this tree to have more of a rounded top, so I'm going to use a green, and I'm just going to make some rounded curves around and around, just like this. Now, I can color it in, and it looks kind of like a tree. If I want to make a tree that looks more like a pine tree, I can make a triangle top instead. So you can make one big triangle like this to make a triangle tree, or you can also make several. So check this out. I'm going to make one small triangle and then another small triangle and then another one. And then when I color these all in, they're going to look like a really cool pine tree. So however you want to make your trees, go for it. In fact, you could even make a tree. Watch this. I'm going to make a rectangle. Now this tree is not going to have any leaves on it. So I'm just going to make lines. A couple of different lines coming out. Now, I'm going to add Y's, like the letter Y, or V's to the end of those lines. And pretty soon, you're going to see a tree that looks more real, like it doesn't have any leaves on it, just like the trees that are around us now here in Maine. All right, I think my trees are done for now. Now I'm going to think about my sky. So in the sky, I'm going to make some clouds. I'm going to use that same bumpy line around to make some clouds. And then I think I need to add a sun right over here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to make a nice, I'm going to make a nice circle around. Maybe I'll even color it in. Now you can add some lines coming out from that if you want for your sun rays. That's up to you. Now when you get your artwork all created, then you can come back and color things in. So coloring in your trees, coloring in your house and your roof, and also your grass. Now, one of the things that I like to do with students is when I'm all done coloring, so imagine that this is all colored, I grab one of those crayons without wrappers, and then I just fill in the sky. So I'm going to do that real quick, even though I'm not done with the rest of my coloring. I'm just very carefully going to go around my clouds because I want to keep those white. And I'm going to fill in all of this space. This is a much easier way to color in your sky. All right, now, when you are all done with this, you are going to have a house that maybe looks like this one. Now, this was on larger paper. Just show you the whole thing here. There is my house with my grass. There's the roof and the sky and the tree. I made that one with circles. Here's another example of one that I'm currently working on. Here it is. You can see all the different trees that we made. All right, so have fun making your house with lines and shapes. I'm really looking forward to what you come up with. When you're finished, take a photo and email it back to me or post it to Seesaw. Have fun with it, guys. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Have a great week.